Buenos and Hafaday. Welcome to the Guam Congress Building. This informational briefing by the Committee on Maritime and Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens is hereby called to order. Today is Friday, July 14th, 2023, and the time now is 2:05 p.m. For the record and in accordance with the Open Government Law, notices for this informational hearing were sent on July 7th and again on July 12th. This briefing was also published on the Guam Legislature's website and the Guam Public Notice website. Joining me here this afternoon, Vice Chair of the Committee, Senator Jesse Lujan, Senator Cello Taidagui, Masi colleagues for being present. Before we proceed with presentations from the Guam Visitors Bureau, we'd like to first provide some general rules of conduct. The conduct for this informational briefing shall be as follows. Written comments or presentations shall be submitted to the committee. Please provide our legislative staff with your written comments for photocopying. Comments may be read, and any lengthy presentation should be summarized to 5 minutes. Those offering comments will be allowed to present written or oral testimony, and once you're done, please remain in the room for additional questions or comments from the members of the committee. Questions and comments shall be confined to the nature of the agenda, and today's informational briefing concerns any and all efforts that have been put forward to help our island's visitor industry recover and rebuild from the devastating effects of Typhoon Mawar. The chair will invite individuals who have signed up to provide comments, and before speaking, we ask that you introduce yourselves for the record. The order of questioning will begin with the panel of senators, and if there's a need for additional questions, we will have a second round of questions. Personal inference about the character or motive of any senator or individual commenting is not permitted. Any violations of this general rule of conduct will result in removal from the public hearing room. Individuals who fail to maintain proper form and decorum may be restricted from providing oral testimony and may be asked to leave or escorted and removed from the room. Proper form and decorum shall be practiced by all present in the public hearing room. We have folks from the Guam Visitors Bureau who are here with us this afternoon. We have the members of the board. We have Mr. Jeff Jones, Mr. Sunny Atta, President of the Guam Visitors Bureau, Carl Gutierrez, and the Vice President, Mr. Jerry Perez. Thank you very much for joining us. Nearly 2 months after Guam experienced the most powerful storm since Typhoon Pongsonghua, some of our families are still without power, and for some of our families, they're without a home or maybe either unemployed or underemployed. And through today's informational briefing, the Tourism Committee intends to find out exactly where GVB and the broader visitor industry are at with respect to recovery over the next 3, 6, and 12 months and beyond. The impacts of Typhoon Mawar on our visitor industry, on top of the COVID pandemic, cannot and should not be mistaken. Hotels, restaurants, tour companies, and vendors, small and large, were affected, and there is no doubt that many of them may be asking themselves a variety of questions, such as, can we afford to keep this many employees on board? Do we bring those who were without work due to the storm back on board? Do we forego certain employee benefits in order to minimize operating costs as we recover from unanticipated typhoon-related expenses? Or is it even worth keeping our doors open? Although the answers to these and other important questions will help determine whether Guam is able to again welcome 1.6 million tourists pre-COVID or even more, they'll have a more profound impact on the lives of the women and men who make up our visitor industry. Through our discussions this afternoon, the committee is interested in receiving feedback on a number of issues, including but not limited to pre- and post-typhoon assistance provided to tourists, the Tourism Assistance Program, the status of primary visitor markets, destination management, and the reopening of our tourism industry and stakeholder readiness. Now, for those of us who are here and those who are watching the live stream for the informational briefing, I'd like to have the folks who are here today introduce themselves and begin the briefing. Start with you. You'll begin?
I wasn't paying attention, but you want me to start with the discussion?
By introducing yourself first and any presentation that you have.
I'm sorry, my name's Carl Gutierrez, and I'm the General Manager of the Guam Visitors Bureau. And here for the second time on the discussion in a roundtable where the incongruity of the bylaws and the enabling legislation.
Okay, this first part of the hearing is the informational hearing on Typhoon recovery efforts. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, I think I can sum up basically what we talked about yesterday at the budget hearing. The good news is that within 3 to 4 weeks after the storm, we're back in business. And like I indicated yesterday, we had about 17,000 arrivals in June, and we're on a run rate now for July to be about 38,000 to 40,000 visitors. So a large part of the reason why we were able to recover very quickly is the legislature's foresight in allowing the general manager spending authority under the law at a time when things were still being worked out between the board and management in terms of the operating model. The budget request that we had yesterday was from the current fiscal year. We had like 18.9 million, and our request is for 27 million. And a large part of that budget actually would go toward sustaining the 3 strategic objectives that we started off, which was number 1, to get us quickly back into business, and number 2, restore the trajectory of our recovery from COVID that was slightly disrupted by Mawar, and number 3, to help local businesses get back on their feet so that we can provide the value experience that our tourists are looking for when they get to Guam. So that pretty much sums up where we are today. We anticipate continuation of the cleanup at the beaches. Yesterday we showed you some photos and film on the progress made to date. And it's not really just a GVB show. What happened was a lot of people in the community, including some of the senators here and their staff, were very helpful in helping us pull together a cleanup program for the whole, Tumon Bay area. As far as the Tourist Assistance Program is concerned, we've received over 500 applications and have made award of about 290 some grants already. We spent about $1.9 million, and we may cede a little bit more to that because we still see opportunity for other businesses that might need support. That really worked very well for us because if you look around, a lot of the businesses in the value chain of our destination experience are back in business. A poster child for that, of course, is the Latte Park. That was totally devastated, but within 2 weeks, they're back in business, entertaining FEMA volunteers as well as the summer youth program. So we're very optimistic that within the next 2 to 3 months, we will be as close to back on track as we were in our trajectory of forecasting the rest of the fiscal year to be 40% of our pre-COVID arrivals, and for fiscal 24 to be on track to be about 70% of our pre-COVID arrivals. We have a lot of good information that we're hearing, including Japan Airlines being fully booked for the month of August. And so the original goal for us not to lose the summer peak business is pretty much on target, I believe. So with that, turn it over to Rod or Nadine if there's anything else that they'd like to add.
If I may, again, referencing yesterday, the feedback we received from the travel industry in country has been very positive and supportive of Guam, and they're looking forward to selling the Guam packages. Matter of fact, just last night we met with several travel agents from Korea, along with Jeju Airlines, and they're very happy to be here and looking forward to building new packages for the island.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to also give the board members an opportunity to comment.
I don't have anything to add to the recovery. I think it's been going well, and the management's done a great job of the recovery efforts.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll ask questions based on your presentation, and I know you gave us most of that presentation yesterday. This informational briefing was scheduled beforehand, but we're glad that we had the information during the budget hearing as well. So a lot of industry folks have shared that they have been very appreciative of the financial assistance program that you put out immediately after the storm. Can we get a little more information about that? You shared we had 500 applicants, 209 grants already given out. What were the requirements for these grants to be given? And how were these folks chosen? And what was the average amount given to each grantee?
Okay, I need to do the math to come up with the average, but essentially the target was small businesses, small local businesses. So in other words, if they were an off-island corporation, had an operation here, they didn't qualify. We're trying to help the people here get their small businesses up and running. The requirements were quite simple. They had to submit a W-9. They had to submit their latest tax filing so that we had a better idea of their business operations. Proof of damages so that we know that they actually do need the money. And trying to remember what else was on there. Our vendor registration form, and that's just for tracking to send a W or the 1099 when it comes time for tax season. Very simple requirements.
Okay, and so those of the 500 applicants who were denied, those who were not given a grant, they were denied because they missed one of these requirements.
Some of them didn't want to give us their tax information. They submitted an application, but clearly stated they weren't going to give us their tax. That's their choice. Some others didn't submit their damages, and some of them didn't have business license.
Senator, if I can add, the average payment is $8,000 per applicant.
In the aggregate, the average is about 8,000, but we have a few who are given the maximum of 25,000, depending on the magnitude of their, loss.
Mm-hmm. So we've paid out 1.9 million already to these 290 businesses, small local businesses, and you said that we might keep the program going. How much more do you expect to spend in grants?
Because some people are still coming in, sort of pleading a second chance on their application that they were denied. We noticed that they were more willing now to come in with the pictures of their damages and the W-9 and other things, their taxes. So in the beginning, when we were formulating this idea, I had worked with Jerry and Rod and Nadine on about how much we had. It was at 2.5 million initially. And then as Rod went through the reprogramming amount, we had less than 2.4 million. So I said, well, let's do the program at 2 million. But we still have that play between 2 million and 2.4 million. So I asked Rod and Nadine yesterday to add another 50,000 to the 2 million to try to have enough to take care of the smaller ones that are pleading their cases now. So hopefully we can go up to 2.4 if need be, but I won't believe he'll go that far.
Okay, so this is not a second round of the program?
no.
This is still the first round to give a chance to those who may not have completed the application
Reconsideration.
or may have missed it. So for
Reconsideration,
those who are listening, they still have an opportunity to apply.
No, no, we cut off the deadline. It's those that were denied giving reconsideration.
Okay.
For them to bring in whatever they were missing.
Okay,
But no more opening.
Yeah, one of the key foundations, though, is since we wanted to be open in business in July, is that they committed to be in business by July 15th, tomorrow. But actually, quite a few of them are already back in business.
okay. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask some questions about the response immediately after the typhoon. We heard some complaints to the committee about visitors here who were displaced from their hotels and told to find other accommodations, and that those things were cleared up. But I want to know if there is a future storm or something were to happen, do we have a better response plan? Can we talk a little bit about what exactly happened and how we can improve that process moving forward?
If I can just say, a large part of the negative social media activity took place right after Core 4 was declared. Understandably, there's a lot of confusion on the part of the visitors, a lot of confusion on who needs to do what, when, where, and how. But actually, within a couple days, a lot of the social media negatives turned positive. In fact, if you saw the video we showed yesterday, there's a hotel here with a lot of people signing, thanking the staff for how well they were taken care of during the storm and so forth. And that translated with our marketing message overseas on how we're taking care of our customers. And a lot of the initial negatives, I think, basically switched around into a lot more positive discussion in the social media, and it's no accident that it fed into our arrivals number.
If I may. While we were prepared to step in, fortunately, many of the hotels here have strong stranded passenger policies in place. And so even though we told the hotels there was some money available, as noted yesterday, we used very, very little of it, I think less than 20,000, trying to help those passengers out.
Okay, thank you very much.
If I may, Madam Chair, of the stranded visitors, big majority of them was from Korea.
Yes.
And naturally, the head of mission of the Korean consulate office immediately stepped in and reached out to Jerry. Jerry was at the office already that next day. And he was bringing firsthand the information about what is happening to the Korean people. And from there, we helped develop also an easing program to take care of them immediately. And so it's an involvement with the source market embassies too, or the Consul General's office. And I might say again, and I cannot say enough, to the hotels particularly, because we were hearing really damning information about how the tourists were being pushed out the door, and they're not being taken care of. They have to pay when they don't have any money. It's not true. We came to the bottom of it, and the hotels went over and beyond what they would normally do on this particular thing, and it just gave us a good face forward to our source markets. So if there's anything that you can do to give all the hotels some kind of a recognition, believe me, they made their job easier.
Yes, we heard many great stories from the hotels, how generous they were with the tourists, especially those who did run out of money or had no place to go. So we heard a lot of good success stories, but we also heard some things that were a little concerning. So it's good to know that there was collaboration between the partners involved, that we were able to ease those concerns. So I'm sure we're ready if there's another storm to come. We will be able to assist our tourists, and we still have these funds available. So what is the remaining balance of that fund?
May I clarify the remaining balance of the visitor support program? We initially allotted 1 million, but after receiving actual data, we've only expensed 20,000. So the general manager approved to repurpose that fund for the tourism assistance program, the 2 million.
Okay. And we've had lots of cleanups over the last few days. Our interns from here at the legislature have been joining your team and other folks who have been assisting. What are our major areas that are still awaiting cleanup in the Tumon area or any visitor sites?
I'm sorry, but it was reverberating there. What is the other areas we're still doing
Any
cleanup?
major areas still awaiting cleanup?
Well, we concentrated a lot. The governor did the tour between the Matapang Beach and down to the Hilton, and that takes care of Ipao. That thing is almost like an immaculate beach areas now. So we went there 2 days ago to the end over at where the Kalungsud statue is, San Vittori's. The Tumon Sports Club, that's where that ended there before the promontory comes out. And so we went there to open up the area, and I have the pictures that we just cleaned it up as of this morning. So that's a very, very much needed attraction. The jet skis and the people that hire there to go out in the water. So we're starting from there now in cleaning all the rocks that were pushed in from the high water, all the way down now to the end to PIC. But most of it, the really ugly ones and the hazardous ones have been removed. Now it's really the cleaning up that we're going to go all the way down to Matapang. So still Tumon. We want to make Tumon really the pristine looking beach that people see in the pictures. So we're going to concentrate there for another 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you very much. And I know yesterday we had a little bit of discussion about Ipao Beach and what kinds of projects were going on there, and you said there's nothing happening there, but right after our discussion here, I received many photos of a backhoe and some digging at Ipao Beach. Can you clarify do you know what that project is that's happening?
That's under GVB.
Okay.
We've hired the equipment that we had to go into. A lot of these trees that were between the loamy soil and the beach were like tangled up, and so we had to go in there and cut it up. And with that, a lot of the rocks were pushed in there. So we're going in under these and pulling them out. And at the same time, as the governor looked at those old stanchions that go around the parking lot, the ugly stanchions and the old power wooden poles, we have removed all of that. We decided that we're just going to take this opportunity to remove that ugly eyesore all the way down. So I ask you to please go down and take a look at what we're doing right now. We're in the middle of the ponding basin right now, clearing it out again. So, and we're going to prop up the fence that got knocked down by the trees. So when we get down there in the next few days at Tumon, it's like a brand new. And if somebody wants to put other things in there to delineate parking lots, it's going to be a different kind of material use and not the old wooden power poles that really look ugly. And so take a look at it, and if you have any ideas that you can appropriate for us to put in there, I would be happy.
Okay, thank you. So the heavy equipment that is being used at Ipao right now is all for cleanup and cosmetics. It's not interfering with any of the SHPO instruction that was given.
SHPO instruction? We never got any SHPO instructions.
Not to dig at Ipao.
Oh, you mean the old? Yeah, no.
I'm saying it doesn't interfere with
we're
any
right
of
on the
that.
periphery.
Okay.
We will not touch the as we were ordered by SHPO. No.
Okay, I want to clarify because after we said there was no digging,
There's no digging.
everyone was sending in pictures of this heavy equipment that's at Ipao. But to clarify and for the public, it is for the cleanup. It is not
Cleanup,
for
no digging.
any new project, just for the Typhoon cleanup.
This is under everything, but there were some leftover trees in the past that were just stumps, big stumps. We decided at this time to remove those too, so that we will not come back in anymore on that place once we remove the stumps that's been there for 10, 15 years.
Okay. Well, open up the floor to my vice chair. Do you want to go last? No? Okay, so Senator Titagui.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon to GVB and the board members that are here today. You know, I'm just grateful that you've taken the initiative to do this cleanup. There's nothing requiring GVB to do this whatsoever. You weren't given any additional funding to do this. I hope that people are not perceiving this as some kind of, inquiry on what you're doing when we should be actually commending you for the job that you've done, going out of your way to do this. I mean, what about the other agencies? Have they done the same thing as GVB? Why not? So I hope this round table is not to make it sound like we're, interrogating you and what more are you going to do or anything like that. It's wrong of us to do that. We're supposed to be here to thank you, GVB, and the staff that actually, went out and did this extra work. Not even being asked. You have no responsibility to do this, but you took the initiative upon yourself, to do this cleanup. I'm pretty sure Parks and Rec is really happy that you did that, as well as, other people in the community, especially the businesses in Tumon area. And I just want to commend you for the great work you're doing. And please, I hope you don't, or the public think that this is some kind of an inquiry or, a responsibility of GVB. It was not. It was out of the goodness of their heart and that it needed to get done. And knowing you, Governor, you've always you're not going to sit around and wait for someone else to do it. Just get up and do it.
Can I ask
Sure.
you something? Because about 3 years ago, you came there to show me some rocks in the area there. I did not want to touch that over the last few days. I was trying to ask you to tell me again what the significance of those rocks are that we're protecting there. You remember those? There's something right there by the parking lot on the top part.
On the part of the...
Yeah, there's three sets of rocks here, three sets. It has something to do with ancient relics or something that...
Yes, I think it did. If I'm not mistaken, Nadine, are you familiar with what is that with the...
Lusum? No, it's not.
It's not, but do you remember on that one?
I don't remember. I know that we're
The-
not
what the
supposed to
rocks
touch
we're
them.
talking
I
about, right?
can't remember what's under
Yeah.
it.
So
But you brought that to my attention, and I
significant.
Yeah,
Well, you know what? That tells you maybe you should put a sign up there, and make it some kind of a site to see or somebody to read about. But yeah.
No, but if
yeah.
it's just regular common rock, we don't want it there.
Yeah, okay, then move it, Gov. You're doing such a good job over there, cleaning the area up and doing what you need to get done. But once again, you're a man who doesn't wait around for somebody else to do the job. You just do it yourself, and I greatly appreciate it. And of course, once again, the staff. I mean, we went through this whole thing the other day during our budget. So appreciate GVB for making the initiative. Thank you so much.
Senator Brown?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and certainly welcome again in such a short time to GVB and to your board members that are here this afternoon. I really don't have much of any questions. I think the presentation you provided yesterday in the video really gave us a very clear idea of the recovery efforts that are being put in place and also the beautification and cleanup of Tumon. So I really don't have any further questions on my part. I think you guys are on track with what you need to do, and it's most appreciated. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Brown. I wanted to ask, Mr. President, if any of the work that you're doing clearing at EPOW or the beaches in Tumon, are those FEMA reimbursable projects? Have we been able to?
No, they're not. We're not intending to ask for that. It was just should have been done a long time ago. It has nothing to do with the storm.
But having said that, we're meeting with FEMA next week to see if there's opportunity for us to recover some of those expenses.
Okay, that's good to hear. So we hope that will be positive feedback from FEMA in a few days then. And you also mentioned that you're removing the stanchions at EPAL Beach Park, the ones in the parking lot.
It's all gone.
It's all gone already. So you have a very close relationship with Department of Parks and Recreation, I know, but was that in collaboration with them that was agreed upon?
Actually, when I was riding around with the governor and the lieutenant governor 2 weeks ago, and the lieutenant governor says, "Why is this still here? That's been ordered a long time ago to be removed." It was just ugly,
Okay.
and it's
Yeah.
hazardous. So, and Parks and Rec worked with us as well, but nobody volunteered to remove it, so I took it upon myself to get it done.
Okay, sounds good. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you as well. I mean, I know we said this, mentioned this yesterday, the budget hearing, but again, thank you very much for all the efforts that the agency and staff have been doing to, again, get our tourism back and all the efforts that have been put into cleaning up our main tourist hub down in the Tumon area. Let me ask this question, because right up, I mean, as we welcome our tourists and everything here and down the hotels, right up the street is the waste site. It's the big waste site. And do we have a projection on when that will be cleared up? I mean,
The which one, Senator?
the big waste site, the EPA Point waste site. Do we have an idea on when that will start getting cleared up? The dump site, you know, where all the, yeah. Do we have an idea? Because it's right up, just right, it's right there, right?
Sammy-Torres Road?
No, right up the street there, the old hospital point,
Yes.
Yeah, where all the Typhoon waste.
Yeah,
and
those
all that.
are green waste.
Yeah, well, no, there's not all green waste.
Yeah,
It's-
no, they're separating them now.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
they were taking mixed bags in there.
Yeah, no, and the reason why I was asking when there, if you had an idea, I know it's not your entity. I know it's not your entity, and you know the disturbing thing about that, because I met with Director Vince Ariola a couple of days ago, and they were tasked as well to be the cleanup folks. And my question was, is this not a solid waste entity as well? You know, and supposedly not. And I don't know why not. I don't know if statute did not permit that or something like that. And I know that if it's just DPW by themselves doing this, they don't have all the equipment to be able to do that. And I'm concerned not only on that site, on other sites, but in that area there, I know what's happening is, I tell you, there's a lot of flies now. I mean, just because they had, at one point, I think people were mixing garbage and things of that nature. And it's just, you know, if that will continue, I mean, it's not going to get any better. It's not going to smell any better.
I know EPA is very concerned that they were mixing up different kinds of trash there besides the trees and the green waste.
Yeah.
That they're there every day and they're monitoring, because FEMA will not reimburse if you mix up these kinds of things.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I know they were segregating waste, but they were taking all waste. So they were taking wood, there were construction stuff, metals, green waste. I mean, it's segregated, but it's all in one place. But when you go in there, I think it's kind of on an honor system that, you know, you go and segregate the trash, but
yeah,
they weren't doing a very good job in honoring the honor system.
Yeah, we can check and find
Yeah.
out.
well, but
And I'm just wondering, because again, you know, as we clean up and, you know, Tumon right up the hill there, you know, you've got mounds, and I guess it's a good thing at this point that the tangan has grown and the leaves have grown back, and it's kind of hiding it, but you cannot hide the flies, you know, and all that. So, you know, it's right there, and
Right where it's at.
yeah. So, yeah. Are we talking yet about the tourism numbers? Not yet. Not yet. Okay. Oh, okay. So you want to wait for that? Okay. Thank you. Let me talk about the numbers in like source markets and all that, right? And the numbers coming back here. Who are our biggest competitors in regards to this area here in tourism?
Our biggest competitors are nearby Asian destinations.
So we're
You know,
competing against countries.
Yeah, countries that are like, you know, Taipei, Korea, Philippines, Bangkok, places like that. because they have the airlift capacity, because they have the scale and numbers of
Sure.
people, and more importantly, they have a very competitive airline pricing compared to from there to us on Guam. And so we're somewhat disadvantaged by that because we have a couple of carriers serving us from like Japan, for example, and the price, quite frankly, is not
Sure.
as competitive as it is from Japan to places like Seoul, Taiwan, Bangkok, and places like that, because they do have more carriers that are low-cost carriers.
Yeah, and the reason why I was asking, because just recently I had visited Bangkok as well and had the opportunity to speak to quite a few of the workers in different stages of their jobs. And yeah, they were really affected by the pandemic, but they all kind of seem to say, man, it's like we never had it, that their numbers have come back.
Yeah.
And it was very indicative in when we landed and even taken off that,
Yeah.
it looks like the last time I visited, like they...
Right. You should know that at the board meeting yesterday, that issue has come up, and whether there's any way we can have some kind of an airline incentive program to help us with that. So we're looking into that right now.
And so, I mean, I know that the Japanese yen has gotten stronger, and so compared to the U.S. dollar and all that. And are we seeing? I mean, is that a trend you think is going to? I mean, it's bad for us visiting over there, but it's good for them visiting here. So is that? How do you see that?
Yeah, Director Jones just reminded me, actually, because we did discuss this yesterday at the board meeting. Okinawa is a big competitor of ours, not only because of the nature as their destination, but there is national incentives that the government has extended the incentives for them through September even. Supposed to end in July, but those incentives are extended into September.
These are again airline incentive, hotel incentives. and
These
things
are
of that
government backed incentive programs financially that would generate that business for them.
50% off on passport renewals, things like that.
Oh wow, okay. How about the China market? I mean, yeah, zero.
The China market?
Yeah, China market.
I know the China market is ripe right now. I just came back from Shenyang, and they really want to open up flights from Shenyang to Guam. It's a less than 5 hour flight, and even if we don't put their own airlines in there, they can fly to Korea. From Guam to Korea is 4 hours, and then an hour to Shenyang. So it's an easy way to do it, but I don't know whether our administration is really wants to move into that part yet because of what's going on right now with the military and all that stuff to be pushing China.
Now, is it just with our administration, or is it a national? Is it a U.S. Federal administration entity in regards to the situation between China and the U.S.?
Amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
You see, we don't hear from the military.
Sure,
but
sure.
I'm sure the governor and the lieutenant governor do. So they're kind of lukewarm with China right now, the governor and the lieutenant governor. So I kind of read in there that let's just wait for a while and see what's going on with the military situation.
Well, no, and the reason why I ask is I know years back, before the situation heated between the U.S. and China, that we touted the fact that you were close to China and we can use Guam as a hub to be able to fly to other destinations in China, and if we only even get 1% of the traveling public from China.
From what I understand, there's 10 million Chinese with 10-year U.S. visas.
Okay.
Actually, to that point, there are qualified Chinese that can travel to the U.S. and without really doing much of any marketing. To his point about indirect service here, last year we had about 62 PRC visitors. Year to date this year, we've had like 160, 127. So they are coming, but we've not really focused on that market at this time.
Those are the documented ones, right?
Yes, those are people, yeah.
No, they didn't come by speedboat?
I don't know. I don't know how many are coming from up north
I was going to say,
on a-
because
on a boat.
our borders are open. I mean, you're not counting those numbers that are coming here, huh? Nadine, what's up with that?
That's our emerging cruise business.
I was just going to add that when we had direct flights, the numbers were all right.
Yeah.
And then North Korea threatened Guam, and shortly thereafter,
Sure.
United pulled out
Sure.
of the direct flight. And then the pandemic started. So we just been hit by one thing
Yeah.
after another with China.
I know we had also, Governor, I think you spoken about a joint area tourism in regards to CNMI and enticing folks to do maybe a Micronesian type tour. Where we at with that? Where it's a one Micronesia type thing, starting off with Guam and then all that. Where we at with that?
Well, we felt that if any part of Micronesia can be sustained, it would be Palau. And in working with the Palau tourism industry, as I mentioned yesterday, Nirai Matul, who is the tourism minister, we are trying to figure out how we can tie in. They have 2 flights a week on China Airlines. It's an open flight, in and out. It's a bubble. And they're trying to see whether Guam could be included there so they can sustain not only the 2 flights a week, but to increase those flights. And the way that we wanted to make it work was to see the American Institute in Taiwan, which is the embassy of the United States there. And last January, I had a nice chat with the ambassador there about the very thing about propping up Palau, because the United States moving in a lot of military into Palau, and they're concerned about the economy of Palau and how not to have them continually feeding them more money to be able to pay for whatever areas they use in Palau, but to actually have some sustainable economic movement there. And the key there was that Palau can be sustained if more flights come from Taiwan there. But Guam needs to be included, and Guam needs a waiver. They need a waiver from the airlines to be able to pick up passengers here, for example, and go beyond Taiwan, even go to the States from here, right? And so when I brought up the fact that it behooves the United States to prop up the economy of Palau, so that they can have under the national security edict, not only for national security of the United States, but for Taiwan as well. So that was a nexus that they felt they could push for us to get that waiver. And so I've tasked Ginger and Leland, who really know the area and know the connection between military and the whole economy of Indo-PACOM, a white paper to show them that if you prop up the economy of Palau and Guam, because they're concerned, the institute in Taiwan, concerned that since the threats went on about last 3 years, where the Chinese stopped 90% of the goods coming in to China. They closed them out. And those were the food stuff and fish and other things that they lost a lot of business on. And so they need to be able to get that commodity out of Taiwan, and the best place to do it is to maybe come to Guam under a waiver and continue to the United States and also feed the military here and the local population here. So they're using that national security tie-in to be able to get Guam some kind of a waiver under the cabotage laws. So that's where that is, and hopefully in the next month or so we would have the white paper to present. to the AIT and see how far they would carry it themselves to use that to lobby the Department of Transportation to in fact try a waiver for Guam maybe for 2 or 3 years, not only for passengers, but waiver also for cargo.
Well, thank you. I think you've just given us a good argument to put forth, maybe in a resolution for not only cabotage, but the whole the umbrella of the Jones Act to I mean put that forth, and I hope to be able to work with whoever you're working with. You're working with the governor's office to do that. I mean, putting a white paper together.
We're using it right out of GVB right now. I'm using my resources right now, and I've asked Ginger, like I said, and Leland to be able to put it together. Jeff is working on it as well, and I'm getting some kind of information also from Palau, so we could tie in the whole Palau-Guam connection to Taiwan and the military here as well.
Well, and I think if we jointly do that, I think if we do that as a region, we have a better chance in getting a waiver. And again, the more voices and the more.
I think that maybe not. I don't know about a resolution. You could do resolution or law to set the governor up to lead this commission together, and have the senators and the governor and us
Well, I
in the
mean,
industry.
we can do that through resolution. That's what we did to get the waiver before. We did a resolution, and the governor formally petitioned Department of Transportation for the cabotage.
But with a law,
waiver,
you probably could give it some funding, because we would probably need some funding to be able to gather all this information. So that's why a law might be better and give us a deadline to do it. But that's what we did when I was governor, at least, that we tied in the legislature on the BRAC hearings. For the BRAC, we had senators that are part of, I think, Joanne, you were probably a member of the BRAC commission, right? When we were doing it, you were helping?
It was Carlotta and Senator Tony
Carlotta,
Lamoureux.
yeah, but let's get the legislature and the governor together. If you could pass this and just lay out what we're trying to get, and you could even put in Palau as part of the membership.
Shared costs. Shared costs. Not just us footing the bill. No, a shared cost, not just us footing the bill. A shared cost with us and Palau and whoever else. So not just us footing the bill. Yeah.
But sometimes we should pay them for letting them get involved with us, because they're the ones that are looking at to be able to prop up. So we're using them actually as a benefit for Guam.
Okay. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I wanted to ask too about hotel room capacity, if there were any major damages that are going to put us out for a few months. Are we concerned about, or have those already all been cleared up?
We don't think there's a major problem. Some of the hotels might have a few rooms offline while they do the repairs or whatever, but fundamentally they're all open for business.
All right, good to hear. So if there are no more questions for this informational briefing, we'll adjourn this briefing now. The time is 2:53. We'll take a short break to set up for the roundtable. We are in recess.